Hello, it's 5 o'clock on May 15th, 2020, and this is a fresh installment of Denver Public Library's Friday 5 at 5. Happy to have you. I'm Lainey, a librarian at DPL's downtown central location, and in 15 minutes or less, I'll have you in the loop on 5 new and upcoming titles we can't wait for you to read or listen to. Missing your pub trivia night? Replicate the experience at home on Wednesday evenings with Don't Stand So Close to Me, the library's virtual trivia hour. It's all the fun you've come to expect from our in-person trivia events, but virtual. Play on your own or compete as a team. This coming Wednesday is waiting list only, but the following Wednesday, May 27th, still has a few openings. Register online right now to secure your spot. Link below in the video notes. And of course, take a peek back at our first 2 episodes for details on a couple of exciting giveaways. We're looking for personalized reading list requests that mention Friday 5 at 5, and you get 2 for the price of 1. Lucky winners get a free book via snail mail, plus the usual list of titles library staff thinks you'll love, handpicked just for you. Visit denverlibrary.org/reads to add your name to the hat. Again, that link is below in the notes. And now, onto our headliners. At number 1 this week is Before She Was Helen by the incomparable Caroline B. Cooney, in ebook format on Overdrive and on order in print. Does this author sound familiar? In 1991, The Face on the Milk Carton hit shelves and became an immediate bestseller, selling over 3 million copies. The young adult title examined the life of a 15-year-old girl who recognizes herself as the missing child featured on the side of a milk carton. Now, author Caroline B. Cooney is back with an adult title, a clever whodunit featuring an immensely likable septuagenarian heroine with a tragic past. When Clemmy goes to check in on her crabby neighbor Dom, she can't find him, but spots a beautiful art object and posts a picture of it online. A few days later, Dom is found in his home, dead as a doornail, and Clemmy is drawn into the investigation, wary of revealing anything about her previous life. Cooney deftly weaves together the mysteries of a 50-year-old cold case murder and a still warm body at a retirement community, slowly unveiling a slew of possible motives and suspects for both crimes. If you like Mindy Mejia or Lisa Jewell, this one's for you. Next, we have Sorry for Your Trouble by Richard Ford, print book on order, ebook available on Overdrive. Though Richard Ford remains most widely heralded for his novels, with Independence Day winning the Pulitzer Prize in 1996, his story collections have often been nearly as cohesive and ambitious. The latest finds the author in his mid-70s, writing about men who are also in life's later stages, and who are lost and bewildered by just about everything but the certainty and imminence of death. Some of the stories are set in New Orleans, while others are in Maine. Others are set in Paris or mention Paris fleetingly, or are set in Ireland, but most of the characters here are Irish. The writing in Sorry for Your Trouble has the usual grace and subtlety we expect from Ford, the usual elegant sentences, and the way his characters wind their ways slowly towards answers to the crises they face, bereavement, sexual confusion, ungrateful children, feels plausibly uncertain, and has the reader identifying with them more fully. Recommended for fans of William Trevor and Dennis Johnson. Eden by Tim Lebbon is our 3rd title today, available on Overdrive as an ebook, book on order. Nature personified seeks revenge for climate degradation in this dystopian eco-thriller. Author Tim Lebbon conjures up what you'd get if you crossed Jeff Vandermeer's Annihilation with the lurid creature feature paperbacks of the 70s and 80s with Survivor. A world in which ecopolitics and the unchecked powers of nature have created a hostile environment for humans, who are stalked by bloodthirsty animal predators and the living forest itself. In order to preserve the last places on Earth where nature is truly wild, 13 virgin zones have been established all over the world. These zones are completely off-limits to people, and their borders are strictly enforced by a group called the Zone Protection Force, or the Zeds. Despite these restrictions, however, extreme adventurists have grouped together to form teams that secretly infiltrate the zones, and compete against each other to see who can cross a zone the fastest. The story centers around one such team that is planning to be the first ever to cross Eden, the most mysterious and dangerous of all the zones. This is an unsettling story from its first lines, punctuated by a sense of doom that only intensifies with each turn of the page. LEBBON is also the author of The Silence, which debuted as a Netflix original film on April 12th. Equally cheery, The Silence is the story of a family struggling to survive in a world terrorized by a deadly primeval species that has bred for decades in the pitch darkness of a vast underground cave system, hunting only with their acute hearing. Do you like Colorado authors Peter Heller or Paolo Bacigalupi? Give Eden a try. And now for a hit of nonfiction, Our Revolution, A Mother and Daughter at Mid-Century by Honor Moore. You can find this one on Overdrive as an ebook and e-audiobook, print book on order. In her first book, The Bishop's Daughter, poet Honor Moore wrote about her father, Paul Moore Jr., a prominent Episcopal pastor and a liberal activist. Now she turns her attention to her mother Jenny, a former debutante who raised 9 children, and who, with her husband, embraced the ideals of Dorothy Day, living a life of service and near poverty in Jersey City in an effort to build a multiracial ministry. Neither parent was a saint. It was a catastrophe, says Honor of her childhood. Her mother bequeathed her trove of letters and unpublished writing charting her continued reinventions to Honor, and this book is the result. A vivid social snapshot of feminism, protest, and the struggles of a mother and daughter. Moore currently teaches in the MFA writing program at the New School, and the audiobook format, by the way, is read by the author herself. Pick up Our Revolution if you enjoyed Vivian Gornick's Fierce Attachments, Terry Tempest Williams' When Women Were Birds, or Wild Game by Adrienne Brodeur. And at number 5, A Registry of My Passage Upon the Earth by Daniel Mason. We have the print book on order, ebook and e-audio available on Overdrive. Yes, this is another collection of short stories, but it's very different from Richard Ford's. At times funny and irreverent, always moving and deeply urgent, these stories, among them a National Magazine winner, cap a 15-year project. From the Nile's depths to the highest reaches of the atmosphere, from volcano-wrecked islands to an asylum on the outskirts of Rio de Janeiro, these are tales of ecstasy and epiphany. On a fateful flight, a balloonist makes a discovery that changes her life forever. A telegraph operator finds an unexpected companion in the middle of the Amazon. A doctor is beset by seizures, in which he is possessed by a second, perhaps better, version of himself. A bare-knuckle fighter prepares to face his most fearsome opponent, while a young mother seeks a miraculous cure for her ailing son. Listeners will be rewarded by a full cast narration featuring audio superstar Michael Crouch. The best-selling author of The Winter Soldier, Daniel Mason is also a clinical assistant professor of psychiatry at Stanford. Check out if you've enjoyed stories by fellow physician Jacob M. Apple. Plus, in case you missed it, check out Bridget Collins' The Binding as an ebook on Overdrive, print and CD audio available when the library reopens. The Binding is best categorized as epic, historical, romantic fantasy, and is the first adult title from this highly successful British YA author. The book's setting is Dickensian, with mentions of the Crusades, the workhouses of the Industrial Revolution, and the old rigid class systems. Everything changes for rural lad Emmett Farmer when a gloriously grouchy wise woman compels him to be her bookbinding apprentice. While this line of work is generally shrouded in superstitious fear, Emmett is shocked when his mentor, Meredith, explains that they don't make books to sell. Selling books is wrong. Rather, their particular trade involves binding unwanted memories away into books. Very gothic, very intriguing. Emmett isn't sure why he has been chosen, but bookbinding is a vocation, something you were born to do, and he must do it. Among the books of people's memories in Meredith's vault is a book with Emmett's name on it, leaving him to wonder, what memories has he had wiped? As in all good stories, there is as much dark as there is light here, as well as a healthy dollop of good old-fashioned villainy. Things come crashing down to the extent that it seems Colin's young lovers may not get to enjoy a happy ending. Aaron Morgenstern and Emily St. John Mandel fans will like this one. Fast-moving with lots of literary references, you won't want this book to end. And that's it for this week. Thanks for tuning in to Denver Public Library's Friday 5 at 5. Check out our titles on these titles and a whole lot more right now at denverlibrary.org/downloads. Link below. And be sure to tune in next week for a whole new batch of good reads.